friends, family, and people I have never met. Welcome back to part 2 of my Life Without a Mother versus Having Hope series. To those who haven't watched part 1 of this series, I would recommend you to go back to my channel to watch it and then come back to this video. Thank you to all who messaged me encouraging me to continue this series. What I am going to tell you through this video is not textbook knowledge, but a revelation that I received from Holy Spirit during my drive to work after a Sunday service at church in November 2017. Through the video I make, I intend to give insight to people on what a motherless kid or kids who grew up with parental relationship problems are missing in their life on a holistic level. These revelations heal me, and I am sure it'll heal you on a deeper level. Sometimes it's easier to tell about a physical healing than a mental healing. Please bear with me as I try to explain. As you know from my part 1 video, I lost my mother when I was 3 years of age. Even people who haven't lost their mothers can relate to this topic because we all go through the state of grief in different areas of our life in various ways. Grief is sudden, unexpected loss of something you value. Every human goes through it. When losing a job, having to go through an abortion, losing ears due to chronic pain or sickness, the spouse you married is not meeting your expectation, isolated, rejected from a community or social group, having a kid with chronic congenital illnesses, having to live your childhood with an alcoholic father, and all of your memories are about his drunkenness, going through divorce, etc., etc. I would like to encourage you to pause and ask a question to yourself. What is causing the hidden grief in you that is coming out in the form of anger, frustration, depression, self-seclusion from social group, etc.? I hope my video helps you to address these deep-seated issues. Humans are amazing. They're good at hiding or ignoring their deep emotions. Some moves forward by addressing these deep-rooted issues for a better life than they thought they would ever have. Now, let's stick to life without a mother. Today I'm going to enlighten you about the unspoken dark side of motherlessness from grief or loss. We already discussed about overwhelming feeling of lack and self-pity in previous video, or I would like to call it in this video, lack of maternal attachment contributing to grief. I'm discussing this in detail here, and I will discuss uncomforted child syndrome in next part. So let's jump into the lack that a motherless kid experiences that a normal kid takes for granted. I have divided this lack into 5 points. Lack of physical touch of a mother, lack of eye contact of a mother, lack of voice of a mother, lack of a mother's presence, and finally, lack of social interaction with and through mother. This last point I will discuss in the next part too. So here we are going to discuss the first 4 parts. Lack of physical touch of a mother. Neuroscience of physical touch from parents. It is otherwise called somatosensory stimulation from mother to child. If you look at this picture from the bottom, somatosensory stimulation travels up to brain, triggering nerve responses and hormones. The two main hormones that assist us to feel loved through touch from parents or anyone else is oxytocin and vasopressin. They affect so many of our social behavior and mental health, the variation of which from childhood stimulations helps in creating and maintaining healthy relationship in life even as an adult. Large amount of oxytocin is released during childbirth and helps with lactation and maternal and child bonding. Oxytocin is otherwise called the love hormone. Where does the brain love? Another part I would like to point out to you now is the amygdala. We will discuss further about amygdala in following parts of the series. Let me tell you some benefits of physical touch or hugging from our parents. Scientific researchers have found that hugs from parents reduces sicknesses in kids by increasing their immunity. Researchers at Duke University in USA found babies with affectionate mothers grew up to be happier, more resilient, and less anxious even in adult life. It helps with the child brain cell growth, emotional intelligence development, etc. Kids who grew up with parental neglect or deprivation from parental affection feels abandoned child syndrome. This can be a perceived issue or a real neglect due to surviving parent acopia. That is, a father of kids who lost their mothers not being able to connect with the child on a physical or emotional level. This causes the father to feel distant with the child and his judgments of the child will be wrong, causing a wide disconnect between the father and child which worsens as time goes by. Physical touch is a basic need like hunger. When this need is not met for years, the pain and depravity goes deep into the soul. Mother's hugs are a source of comfort in everyday troubles of a child. A touch of a mother is like nothing else in the world. A mother's hug heals a child's heart from physical and emotional pain. Psychologists say that they have met male clients in their 50s crying during counseling, missing the feel of their mother's touch. So personally, I would like to tell you, family hugs matter. It liberates and heals and speaks louder than words. Hugs matter. It makes a child feel, I belong in the family. Let's move on to the next lack. Lack of eye contact with the mother. Just like physical touch, an eye-to-eye connection between a mother and child lays foundation of self-confidence, identity, social communication skills, etc. A loving look of approval and acceptance from a mother to child makes them feel valued, emotionally grounded, respected, connected deeply, and the kid will feel they belong in the family. Researchers say good, consistent parental eye contact is directly related to kids' attention span. This affects their concentration to do tasks and excel in studies. Equally important contribution that gets etched in the child's heart and brain from my mother is her voice. A 90s and 80s or older generation kids will know how much patience it was needed when waiting for a call from your parents if you studied in hostels or lived away from them. When you hear their voice through the telephone, it sounded so warm and precious. Gave us a new energy. What I wanted to say is, voices or words of a parent have so much power on the children. Our parents' voice become our voice from childhood till the day we die. We hear their voices in our head. We hear their voices in our own voice when we talk to our kids. Their voice shapes our work ethics, behavior patterns, judgment of people and circumstances, etc., etc. A good voice from a parent is like a light in the dark. It guides one to all good things. A parent whose bad voice outweighs a good voice will leave lasting bad impression on their kids. It will haunt them all their lives, making them run away, trying to get away from it. Harvard Business Review Journal suggests praise to criticism ratio for anyone is 5:1. That is, for every one criticism from a parent or boss, it needs 5 praise words to bring back the confidence in the child or in the employee. Lack of reassuring voice of mother causes so many bad voices of self-criticism and self-destruction in a child's head, causing severe anxiety and distress. As motherless kids whose resilience is underdeveloped with lack of reassuring voices, they suffer more. If good voices are not in our head, bad voices try to take reign, causing confusion in the mind, confusion in self-identity, confusion in perception of self, others, and situations, confusion in self-worth, confusion in social relationships, confusion in morals, affecting conscience. Conscience is our habitual obedience to good or bad voices in our head. For a motherless girl child, her dad's voice and words become so heightened as the mother's voice is missing. A dad's voice usually brings security, but it does not necessarily have the girly gentleness, caring, and merciful attitude. The result is, if it is a girl child, she has a dominating dad's voice in her head. Her head voices are also dominated by a man's thinking, thus lacking girly thoughts and judgments. This in turn can lead to the child being misunderstood in a social setting, as her gestures and words mirror a man's. This is due to non-exposure to a leading mother's voice, causing confusion in identity. I remember being misunderstood by others and even by myself. Only a motherless child knows a craving for the words of endearment from a mother, an insatiable want to hear "I love you" from a mother, a word or touch that makes a child feel "I am loved, I am special, I am good enough, I can achieve anything." There is a kid in all adults who like to feel loved with endearing words. അമ്മയുടെ ചക്കര ബേബി ആണോ? This brings us to the last topic for this video, which is lack of mother's presence. I will try to explain this using an analogy. Kids who grew up with a dad who was always drunk or abusive miss him if he dies. Even though he is drunk or abusive, he still gives education and a home and food for a child that is enough to feel entitled to. This proves that the presence of the person who's supposed to do that role in your life is still so valuable to you, whether he does that role or not. It hurts when that vacuum of absence of them on earth is created. The vacuum gets etched in our hearts. Being available in presence, in body, is so precious to a child. For a child, it's depressing to think that the child has no one to run to during times of trouble, no one to tell anything important, no one to trust with a secret, no one to wait for them with evening snacks after school, no one to hug them in the middle of sleep, no one to serve them food. If one surviving parent leaves the house, they are left with strangers in the home, etc., etc. A mother is a master of attention to detail in caring for her child. A mother is created to look after her babies. For example, she knows when to cut the child's nails, what haircut suits the child, repurchase more undergarments for the child, what food she likes. She is able to detect slight upset in mood of the child. So even the tiny little details that a father can miss, a mother finds out and attends to. That brings us to the conclusion of this video. I will discuss social interaction with and through mother, the missing link in social relationship of a motherless child, in part 3 of this series. If you enjoyed my video, like, share and subscribe. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye!